Jai Jin and Mihika, how are you?
Jasmine, I'm all right.
Right, beta. Good job. Good job that day. I loved your pronunciations and everything. So you
Thank
had
you.
you had two stranjas to cover and you did very well. Did you hear all the other kids?
No, I had to leave after my performance because we were going to the temple.
Give me a second. Acha, that's okay. Even I had to drop. I was not anyways joined on the Zoom. My wife, she teaches the level other Pathshala class. So she coordinated it. You saw that, right? The first seven bhavna were covered by a set of kids, and then the rest of them from Sansar Bhavna was covered by our classroom kids. So that's how we coordinated. So she was the one, running the show. I had other things to take care of the kids, so I didn't come in there. But anyways, good performance, and thank you, Arush, for sharing your recording. You did the Nirjara Bhavana, right, Arush? First one, no, you were
No,
Samsar.
eighth one.
Eighth
I
one.
was the eighth one.
Yeah, you were the Samsar Bhav. Okay, and then uh, Mika did the Nirjara. No, yeah, Nirjara, right? Yeah, two of them. Okay, good. Okay. So let's start with Namokar Mantra. I do see Arham joining us as well. Jai Jinan Beta.
Jasmine.
Jai Jinan. Okay, let's do Namokar Mantra and then we'll get started. नमो अरिहंताणम नमो सिद्धाणम नमो आयरियाणम नमो उवज्झायाणम नमो लोए सवसाहुणम ऐसो पंचनमो यारो सव पावपणाशनौ मंगलाणम च सव्वेसिम पढ़मम पवै मंगलम. Jai Jinan Bachcho. I was, as I was starting, I was, congratulating you all for your great performance on the MJK Performance Day yesterday. It came out very well. I didn't realize, but the program lasted for 3 hours and 45 minutes, the whole program. And there were kids who joined from various continents, not just countries. I did notice kids from Europe. There were kids, I think a few joined from India also, which was a interesting one for me. A few joined from Australia, if I'm not wrong. So it was an amazing event, and kudos to Shefali ji and Pratiksha auntie Pratiksha ji for coordinating it so well, and being the point person through that 3 hours and 45 minutes. Amazing work. I mean, I had to take care of my stuff with kids and whatnot, like other dad, so doing my dad duty. But I did attend it through YouTube, and you'll find my comments there. So there is one comment for each of you who presented there. You may find it if you can get to the YouTube link. Anyways, and we missed you, Arham. I wish you also would have participated and recited one of the bhavnas. By the way, our program, our Bara Bhavna program came out very well, right? Mika, you would have noticed, right, how with all the disruptions that were there for other kids. But I think when our program happened, it was so perfect. And with all the backgrounds that you had put in, it appeared so well. I had projected it on my TV for a few minutes and then I had to go, but it was looking amazing on the TV, on the big screen. Like I could see all you guys, together with all the bhavnas, as a background. Amazing. So good job, guys. I would challenge you on one thing. Bara Bhavna, this one that we follow, that we recited by Bhudar Das ji. By the way, I didn't share one part of it, but this poem was written in by Pandit Bhudar Das ji, another Shastri Shravak. So he was not a monk, but he was a Shastri, a Pandit in a temple doing Swadhyay. When he lived in the 18th century, late 18th century in Agra, in and around Agra. Now, this is the time, imagine, this is the time when in India, if you read in, Indian history, this is the time when the Mughal Empire was collapsing and the East India Company the British company was taking over the northern plains. So there was a lot of chaos at that time in terms of the administration and the power, transition and whatnot. And even before that, I think his time was, if I'm not wrong, his time, yeah, that was his time. Banarsi Das ji was what I was confusing with. But anyways, so his time was very chaotic time, especially Agra was like the seat of one of the important seats of the Mughals, and it was collapsing and not a great time to live in. During that time, he was not just following Jainism ardently, but also teaching Jainism ardently. He was doing Swadhyay every day in the temple, and also created amazing poetry. So think of it. This poem, the stranger that you all recited, you should feel proud. This was not written in 21st century, neither in 20th century, neither in 19th century. This is a Hindi and a type of poem that was written in the late 18th century, right? 17 something something, if I'm not wrong, the exact era, exact time. So that's the historic aspect of the Bara Bhavna that you recited. Now, Bara Bhavna is not a concept that was invented at that time. A Bara Anupreksha or Bara contemplations or Bhavna have all been part of our culture since the Vani of Mahavir Bhagwan shared it with us. It's just that during that time, this poet, this Panditji or Budhar Das ji, coined. He applied his poetic genius to create this poetry, and every Jain, especially in North India, they know this by either heart or they would must have heard it while growing up. Like I heard it growing up. I didn't memorize it, but like my dadi and my mummy and everyone, they remember it by heart. So the challenge for you guys is make a serious effort to memorize this. Now, the beauty of it is if you'll go to YouTube, we are living in an awesome time. Go to YouTube, search for Bara Bhavna Jain. We'll find so many different poetic musical renditions for it. You'll be overwhelmed actually, because I was doing that search myself. For we did the same event at the Pathshala at our temple in Phoenix, and we did a more poetic recitation of it with the background score and whatnot. Irrespective, right? Something you can do in the physical world, not in digital space that easily, coordinating, syncing it across the screens. But anyways, what the challenge for you guys is now that you know one bhavna, right, and you know the meaning for it, make a conscious effort this summer to memorize it, right, with the music. Play it when you are, doing your your homeworks or whatever, right? Play it in the background, play it in your earpods, YouTube, and then maybe you can download it also. There are many sites through which it can be downloaded. Reciting it, memorizing it is a great practice because these are 12 contemplations, right? And contemplations mean something that should be remembered again and again and again. This is all about reflection. More you recite it, more you understand its meaning, more it takes you towards or it keeps you on the path of salvation, keeps you on the path of Jainism. है ना? Because every stranger has deeper and deeper meaning on it. ठीक है ना? So make an effort, try it consciously. I know it's hard for you because you guys are always distracted and your parents make you do so many things, right? So many things which may not be relevant, or you may find when you'll grow up, why the hell I put so much time and energy in these activities, anyways. But never with Jainism. Anything and everything you are learning now will always stay with you forever until your this ayu karma end and you move on to the next life, and for that matter even to the next life, depending on how you apply the concepts of Jainism and accrue more positive punya karma. है With that said, today's topic, very interesting topic. I'm sure this thought would have occurred to you many a times, and with the times and the that we are living in, we get to expose to many stories of creationism, and many stories and many explanation of how our universe got created, or what is time generally, right? Amazingness of Jainism is so scientific of a religion that I was reading something today, off topic, about I keep reading about these things. That's my hobby. About the Jain Karananu Yoga and Jain Dravyanu Yoga, which is about the sixth dravya, right? You remember we covered the six dravya: uh, Jeev, Pudgal, Dharm, Adharm, Akash, and Kal. Remember that topic, the six dravya that we covered, right? The six dravya are the fundamental particles that define the multiverse that we live in. Anything and everything that we see or experience is a complex product of intersection of these six dravya, right? Any object that we touch, anything that we view, like the electromagnetic and the sensory and non-sensory things that we experience, they all are product of these six type of dravya or six type of particles. One of them is Jeev, that is us, the soul, that is one with consciousness, the only one with consciousness out of all the six dravya. Second one is Pudgal, which is all the material world that we see around us, or not see for that matter, like electromagnetic waves, like sound waves. We don't see them, we just experience them, right? Sometimes very subtly, sometimes very grossly, sometimes very intangibly, sometimes very tangibly, and so on and so forth, right? Now, important thing out there is anything and everything in this world can be defined with the lens of these six things, and that is what the theory of everything is, right? So when you'll grow up in your, and let's say you do higher physics, high school physics, you'll learn about quantum physics, and then all these attempts made to bring up find explanation for all the forces of nature, right? Including gravitation, magnetic, electrical forces, nuclear forces, whatnot, right? Ultimately leading to convergence of these concepts to a theoretical plane called as theory of everything. Now, theory of everything at this point doesn't exist as per the Western physics sciences. But in Jainism, we do have a theory of everything, and that theory of everything can be summarized with these six type of dravya, and then further, explanation and elaboration of those. Today, I'm going to emphasize on one of the topics, and that is Kal. Now, what is Kal? Kal is time, right? Uh, Time is a very interesting of the dravya, right? Like we say, right, that we as a soul have existed since eternity, and we we will be changing for endless time, right? So we have started. There is no start and no end. There is no concept of creationism in Jainism. It's not like there was a supreme human being that created everyone, or there was a big bang and that big bang led to the creation of the world. What was there before Big Bang, right? That is how I would apply the question. Right, Mihika? What was there before the Big Bang, right? The primitive atom, as they say in the physics, in the Western physics and whatnot. That's the lens we have to apply, and that's where the concept of time or the cycle of time or Kal Chakra come into the play. Now, Kal Chakra is very interesting to understand, right? Now, this is a way of describing time as per our Agam, as per Jainism. Okay. So, what is time? If somebody asks you, what is time as per Jainism, right? If somebody who is non Jain who asks you, how is time defined in Jainism? Then there are three definitions. One is Trividha Kala. There are three types of time. What are the three types of time? The time is past, present, and future. Simple, right? Like what we do in grammar, like what we do in general basic, everyday affairs, right? Past, present, and future. These are the three type of call. Also, time is of two types. Dvi with her call. Kal is of two types. What are those two type of kal? The two type of kal are avasarpani and upsarpani, utsarpani. Right now, what are those? I'll just cover in a bit. And then there is a third definition of time which says Kal is of 6 types, right? Depending on the amount of pleasure and pain that a being goes through in a particular era. Accordingly, the Kal is divided into 6 types. So, if you say Kal or time, by the way, when I say Kal, I mean time, right? Time as a dravya, as a endless entity, as in something that exists, right? Nobody has created it, right? Now, there are 2 type of kals, right? One other way of putting it is, one is kal as a substance, which is an abstract concept, right? As a dravya, as a fundamental particle or a fundamental substance. The other definition of kal, that time that we are used to, is how we measure time, the quantification of time, right? And when I say quantification of time, Mehika, what I mean is, we use these tools, these means and mechanisms like calendar, like hours, day, hour, seconds, minutes, uh, hours, then days, then months, then years, then decades, then centuries, and so on and so forth. Right now, these are all quantification of time, right? On a scale. How did we set the scale? We put the zero marker at a particular point and started calculating time forward, right? So the calendar that we follow, like we say, oh, I'm in year 2025. Okay, fine. But you know what? That is not the only time scale or time calendar that is followed across the world. If you go to India, you'll be amazed. In India, there are at least 4 or 5 time calendars that we follow, right? One of them is the Gregorian one, which is defined with at the set at the death or the birth of Jesus, right? And from point forward backwards, right? So AD and BC, or CE and BC, however they say it nowadays. In our times when we were growing up, we used to say AD and BC, before Christ, and AD, Anno Domini, or CE as they say now, irrespective. But that is just a Christian way of doing it, of time calculation, or a Roman Christian way of doing time calculation. In India, we have other calendar systems, like we have Vikram Samvat, we have Shaks Samvat, we have Veer Samvat, which is a Jain calendar, which is defined where it defines zero at the time of Nirvana of Bhagwan Mahavir and forward, right? So likewise, there are many Islamic calendars there, which is set at the times of Muhammad, right? In 7th century as per the Gregorian calendar, and backward and forward. So again, which one would you say is absolute? None of them is absolute. All of them are relative calendars, right? You have set a reference marker point somewhere and you started calculating time using that as a zero reference. है ना? When we talk about Jain cycle of time, uh, this is something which is cyclic in nature, and it kind of has existed since eternity and will exist until the will continue. Like there is no end to it. It's endless. It's just cyclic. It just keeps rotating after again and again and again. So and I'll explain it in a bit. Let me share my screen. So today we don't have a video. All I have is some, let me share my screen. Yes. All I have is a PDF slide. So let me play the PDF now, bring it up, and let me know once you see it. Give me a second. I think it's on my, yeah. Let's see. You can see it, not this, that's YouTube. So let's come to this. Okay, you see this PDF being shared, kids? Open some different font. Let's see if this works for me better. By the way, guys, is my fan bothering you? If it is, I will stop it. It's surely bothering me. It's kind of creaking noise. Mika, is my fan background noise bothering you guys, or it's okay? Okay.
I can't hear background noise.
Perfect. Then I'm good. Okay. So this is a representation of Kal. Now it's just a representation, okay, or the Kal Chakra, or a one way of defining Kal as per Jainism. Now, as I mentioned, in Jainism, you know, think of it like this. So this is one time cycle, or Kal Chakra, or Kal. Okay, now this Kal is made up of two half cycles. One half cycle is what we call as Avasarpani, or descending time cycle. What is the word for it? Avasarpani. What is it? Avasarpani. Okay. And the other one is Uttasarpani, which is ascending time cycle. Now, what is a descending and what is ascending here? That is important to understand. In the first half cycle here, as represented, what decreases? Descending means there are certain qualities that decreases. And what are those qualities? The qualities being age, intellect, experiences, the type of experiences, or like whether you are having all happy experiences or all sad experiences, as you can see it from the emoticons. These are the things that are decreasing. And of course, height of the body, right? So for the human beings that are born in these in the first half cycle, anywhere, the height, age, experience, and the intellect is gradually decreasing. And that's why this part of half cycle is represented or called as Avasarpani. Okay, this Avasarpani Kal, or half cycle, or Kalp, is divided into 6 sections, as you can see it, the blues and the reds. Right? So if you start from 12 o'clock and go up to 6 o'clock, that's one half cycle. Okay, Udyan? And then when you go from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that's the second half cycle. 2 half cycles make one Kal Chakra. Okay, now each of these sectionals in these Kal Chakra are called as eras. What do we call them? Era. Sometimes they are also called as Kal, but that's just overuse of the same term. So let's, for our common understanding, we'll call it as Ara or Era. And era, remember that word era in English, ERA, right? That sounding is same because the root is same. Ara, era is same. Okay. It came from the Jain concept. Now, you would notice that the first ara of the time cycle, of the Avasarpani half time cycle, is of the longest duration. And this is what is called as, also called as Sukhma Sukhma Kal. Happy, happy Kal. Too happiness. Too much of happiness. What does that mean? This is the time, as per Jain Agam, is the time of when, humans were the most happy. They were living for the most years. Now I'll come to that in a bit. You will be surprised what was the age that every human, average age, every human used to live during this time. And then also their intellect was high. They were all very intellectual. They were having more knowledge. They have all type of different type of gyans. I should not say all type of gyans. And they had large body. Like, okay, that again would make it sound very unrealistic, but their height was about 1,000 hands, right? So that how tall they were. Now compare it to dinosaurs. So if you can agree that dinosaurs were huge animals, then agreeing that humans of that time were huge should not be far-fetched for you. Okay. Again, no proof, but this is for so long ago that we don't even have remains for this type of beings. Okay. Next is the Sukhma Kal, which is the happy Kal. Little the happiness uh, actually decreased. As I said, this is Avasarpani Kal, yani everything is decreasing, right? So while the people of the first era were happy, they had all type of, their demands and needs were all met easily. They didn't even have to do any effort for them. When it came to the Sukhma Kal, it kind of little bit reduced. Then came the called Sukhma Dukhma, happiness and sadness. So while there was more happiness, there was still an iota of sadness that started creeping in of the people who were born in this time. And then came the fourth era, which was the call of Dukma Sukma. Now, if you ask me which was the era when the Tirthankars were born, our current Tirthankars. Now, remember, Tirthankars that we know of, the 24, are only the current Tirthankars. There are Tirthankars, Niti says that Tirthankars are born in every half cycle in the fourth era. So the Tirthankars that we know of, the 24 Tirthankars, sometimes we call them as uh, Vartman ke Tirthankar, Vartman Chaubisi, right? Chaubisi means 24, so we say Vartman Chaubisi. Those Tirthankars were all born in this fourth era. The fourth era started with the time of Rishabdev Bhagwan and ended post the Nirvana of Mahavir Bhagwan and of Gautam Swami. Right? So if you see this era, the fourth era, which is the Dukma Sukma era. Now, what was the size of this Dukma Sukma era? This the number it's huge. It's like 1 crore squared, 1 crore. So 1 crore times 1 crore sagar, less 42,000 years. That much was the time period of this Dukma Sukma Kal. Huge, huge. So if you take 1 year as we know it today, which is made up of 12 months, or in other words, 365 days, now we are talking about 1 crore times crore. Crore is a unit of measurement, minus 42,000 such years. That many years passed in this fourth era. The fifth era, which is the era that we live in. Okay, sometimes we say, oh, Pancham Kal, Pancham Kal, Pancham Kal. You will hear this from people. Pancham Kal itself is an year of 21,000 years. And how many years have passed so far? About 2,500 years of those 21,000 years. So this is our Kal, the Kal that we are born in. Oh, by the way, this is the Kal of Dukh. We have more Dukh now. Okay. And then after this is not getting better. Actually, it is getting worse. This is sixth era, will be Kal of Dukma. Enough. Immense Dukh. And not just immense Dukh, right? Because that's all our experiences. Height of people will be lesser. Their age will be very small. Like the average age of people and when I say average, it's like maxing is like somewhere 120 years to 100 years. That's like what is considered as the max or average age of humans in the Dukma Kal. But in Dukma Kal, that age of humans will come down to 20 years. Their height, minimum to maximum, will be 1 hand to 3.5 hand. And this is the time when the dharma will be completely lost. People will be always in a quarreling state, the humans as they are known, right? And there will be a lot of pain and agony around it, a lot of calamities and whatnot, right? So this is the age of calamity, basically. Post this, and what would be duration of this? Again, 21,000 years. Post these 21,000 years, at the 6 o'clock marker, as in depicted here on this time clock, again there will be a second Dukma Kal with the same characteristics: smaller heights, smaller age. So age range will be somewhere like 15 years to 20 years. Okay, and then the people will be always quarreling for resources, right? So resources will get so scarce that there will be a lot of fighting for resources, wars, calamities, famines and whatnot, right? So post this second 21,000 years, there will be a era of Dukma Kal, right? So if you count from this 6 o'clock marker, then I would say the first and the second era, right? So think of it. So this is first era, for the Avsarpani Kal, going all the way to the 6th era. Then again, we are saying the first era, right? This is just a way of calling it so that we can understand the concept, right? Then the second era of the Utsarpani Kal, which is Dukhma. Then the third era of Utsarpani Kal, which is Dukhma Sukhma. And then the fourth era, which is the Sukhma Dukhma. Again, if you ask me where will be the Tirthankars born, they will be born in this Kal. The Kal which is known as Dukhma Sukhma. है ना? तो जब भी दुखमा सुखमा काल होता है, उस काल में तीर्थंकर आते हैं. क्यों आते हैं उस काल में तीर्थंकर? क्योंकि देखो बेटा, इससे पहले क्या हो रहा है? इससे पहले के जो तीन काल हैं, द वन दैट आर शोन इन द शेड्स ऑफ ब्लू आर द काल्स ऑफ which are considered as bhog bhumi, or the kal when people don't have all their needs and wants are satisfied by uh, by by the nature itself, by kalp vraksh, right? There is a notion of kalp vraksh. There are trees that bear all type of fruits, and those fruits are enough to satisfy the needs and wants of the people. But then after this, from third kal, from the Sukhma Dukhma to Dukhma Sukhma, what happens is all those Kalp Vriksh vanish. In the last 1,000 years of the Sukhma Dukhma Kal, the Kalp Vriksh starts vanishing. And then what happens? The things that were earlier provided for are now not available. So people have to shift from their mindset from just getting it from the nature to getting it by making hard work, right? And there is an age of chaos here because people are not used to hard work, right? They are used to getting everything from the nature. So that's why the era of Tirthankars happened, to keep people in check or to show them the path, right? Path is shown is required in the bad times more than in the good times, है ना? And this is the only time when from our universe, by the way, as per Jainism, there are many universes, multiverses. Our Lokakash is made up of different type of universes. We live in a universe called as in the middle world. So we are placed in the middle world, and in particular, we are in the Bharat Kshetra of Jambudvip. The most center part of that middle world, there is a sectional called as Jambudvip. So that Jambudvip goes through this cycle of time, है ना? तो अभी क्या होगा अगर आपसे कोई पूछता है कि तीर्थंकर का काल कौन सा होता है और एरा कौन सा होता है, तो दैट इज फोर्थ एरा ऑफ अवसर्पणी and fourth era of sorry, I should not say fourth era, I should say Dukhma Sukhma Kal of the Avsarpani and Dukhma Sukhma Kal of the Utsarpani. In other words, it is the fourth era of Avsarpani and third era of the Utsarpani. This is the time when Tirthankars are born, the 24 Tirthankars. है ना? अब एक और important fact. What will happen once this half time cycle is over and the second half time cycle is over? What do you think will happen, Arush? Once we reach this point again, what's going to happen, Arush?
It will repeat in like a cycle.
Exactly. It is going to repeat, the way they say it, ab esterno until eternity. It just continues. It just continues. It just keeps rotating, right? So if you ask me how many Tirthankars have happened in the past, the most appropriate answer is infinite sequence, infinite chobises, right? Because there happened so many past Avsarpini Kals and Utsarpini Kals, and in every Avsarpini Kal and Utsarpini Kal in this multiverse of ours, which is called as Bharat Kshetra in the Jambudvip, there have happened Tirthankars in the Dukhma Sukhma era, है ना? अब हम तो उनमें से 24 को ही जानते हैं. Why do we worship only those 24? Because they are established dharma in this half time cycle. The half time cycle that we live in is the most relevant to us, right? This is our history, right? This is the immediate history that is affecting us, our life, our way of living. And that's why we have high reverence for those Tirthankars. But at least in our Agam, the names of the previous 24 Tirthankars, which we call as Bhut Tirthankars, Bhutkal Tirthankars, and the oncoming 24 Tirthankars is known. When I say Bhut, I'm saying before this time. So if I go back in time, the Tirthankar who were born in this time cycle, this era of the past Kal Chakra, their names are known. And of course, we know the name of Bhagwan Adinath to Mahavir Bhagwan of this era. Also, the Tirthankars who will be born in this time cycle, where my arrow is pointing, is also known, and we call them Bhavishya ke चौबीसी. ठीक है ना? तो कभी कभी ऐसा रेफरेंस आता है पूजा में, भूत के चौबीसी, भविष्य के वर्तमान के चौबीसी और भविष्य के चौबीसी. दैट इज द चौबीसी भगवान ऑफ द पास्ट, of the present, and the future. We bow down to all of them. Yes, beta Mika, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I went to this temple, I think in Rajasthan, where my family is, and it has like a different section for the past, past, present, and future.
Awesome. Thank you, beta, for bringing that experience with sharing that with us. Exactly. If you have seen that, then exactly you know what I'm talking about. है ना? Now you know, right? What era they were. But so, अगर कोई पूछता है आपसे कि वर्तमान के 24 या कितने तीर्थंकर हुए पास्ट में, तो उसका आंसर अपने को बहुत ढंग से देना है कि in the current time cycle or half time cycle, we have 24 Tirthankar. The number is always kept at 24 for this multiverse that we are part of. That the context is that, right? और मैं इसको explain करूंगा why I'm saying that. Because there are other multiverses in which there are always Tirthankars present. है ना? But we'll talk about that another day. विदेश क्षेत्र में जैसे होते हैं 20 तीर्थंकर, है ना? अभी भी बोलते हैं 20 तीर्थंकर, और हमारी पूजा होती है 20 तीर्थंकर. But that's a different multiverse. Now the question is, can the Jeev of Mehika be born in that other multiverse? Yes, of course. Right? A Jeev can be born in any of these multiverses that we have. Right from the 16 Swarg that are above us, the middle world, which has all these bhumis, and up to Dhaidvip, and then the lower world, which is the Naraks. A Jeev can be born as in a particular gati in any of these spaces, any of these any of these universes. है ना? So, having said that, abhi keeping the focus on the Bharat Kshetra and Jambudvip, this is the time cycle that is applicable for the Jambudvip, Bharat Kshetra of Jambudvip. है ना? The middle. Okay. Okay, what's next? So, इस पे कोई confusion है किसी को? What is Avasarpani and what is Utsarpani? It is Avasarpani means ascending, and Utsarpani means Avasarpani means descending, and Utsarpani means ascending. What is descending? 4 things: intellect, age, then the height, and the experiences. These are the 4 things that are gradually decreasing as humans are born in this type of time cycle. So the humans that were born in the first era were the most happy and satisfied. When I say happy, the better word for it will be satisfied. They were most satisfied. They were doubly satisfied. They have no they have no lack of resources. Everything was provided for, right? But as we gradually moved in time, you would have seen this, right? The times are changing even before our eyes, right? There are more ecological changes happening. People are getting more and more restless. Material wealth is great, is increasing, but that's not driving satisfaction. People are getting more and more unsatisfied, isn't it? They want more and more and more, and they want to steal things away. They want to, if they already have a country, they now want to get more land and grab the land, right? For that, they are doing all the acts of terrorism and war and whatnot, and trying to get hold of more land. Why? They already have so much, right? If they want, they can put those resources at better use. But that's not happening. Why? It's all a reflection of the time that we are living in. Where are we in this time cycle? We are in the fifth era of the Avsarpani Kal, the Dukhma Kal. है ना? This is where we are. And how many years have passed for this time? About more than 2,500 years. And what is the total duration of this? 21,000 years. After that, think of what would be the state of this earth that we are living in, of this universe that we are part of, right? I would not like to be born in this universe in this time. I would rather like to be born in some other universe where, either a Sukma Kal is going on, or at least, frankly, I would like to be born in this Kal, wherever there are Tirthankars available who can give me the light, show me the light, and you know what? Help me in becoming Tirthankar myself. My soul can become Tirthankar. The only religion that teaches, that gives you this impression in the world is ours, Jainism, that tells you that you can become God. You have the God particle within you, right? And you can, with your own efforts, with tyag, tap, and sanyam, can attain moksha. You can become God, that is. You can, for that matter, become Arihant Bhagwan first and then become a Siddh, that is, attain moksha, right? Now, will that all happen only on the Bharat Kshetra? No. There are other multiverses where also Tirthankar happens, and there are more number of Tirthankars, so there is more opportunity, right? So never get afraid, because when I was kid, right, when I first got introduced to this concept, I was so afraid. Oh, what will happen to me when I'm born in Dukhma Kal? There's so much of pain that is going to be there. No food. People will be fighting, snatching away food from each other. My height will be so small. I'll be a tiny pygmy-like person. I was so stressed for at least few days. And then, you know, the elders of the family reminded me that don't worry, you may not even be born here. You may be born, let's say, as a dev in one of the heavens, or for that matter, you may be born in Videshetra, right? So why do you worry, right? You are a Jain person. If you keep doing punya, if you keep accruing more and more punya karma, you may probably bypass all these times and directly be born in this era, the era of Tirthankar again, and be in company of Tirthankar Bhagwan, ultimately becoming, getting to moksha, Muni Dasha, and attaining moksha, right? So never be worried about these times, right? If these times are happening, doesn't mean your soul will have to go through that time, right? If you do enough punya, if you do enough good deeds, and always be involved in good company, you may actually bypass all this era in this universe. Make sense? Make sense? Okay. Let me keep going because there's a lot. So this is just a representation of it. Okay. So as I mentioned, right, these 1, 2, 3 is just an ordinal way of representing it. Don't worry about it. What we call is 1, 2, 3 is a relative concept, right? So this is Sukma Sukma, Sukma Kal, Sukma Dukhma Kal. Okay, now, first Tirthankar is born in the very last few years of this Sukma Dukhma Kal, and that Tirthankar is Bhagwan Adinath. But as soon as Bhagwan Adinath becomes the king, this Kal basically is over. That's why you would have seen in our culture, we say Bhagwan Adinath is the one who taught people, they gave him the art of living, that is Asi Masi Krashi and all the type of the knowledges, right? To his he taught mathematics and science to his daughters, and gave all these civilizational values to human beings. Why? Because remember, before this Kal, people didn't have a need to know how to work. They didn't have a need to work, right? They didn't want, there was no reason to work, right? But as soon as this time changed, things started disappearing. And at the end of the third era, all the Kalpraksh completely got wiped out. So there was a general chaos on what should we do? How would we sustain our life? I'm hungry now. I want to eat food. So what should I do? Last year at our Pathshala, we did a play on this, the last 1,000 years. And there were the era of Kulkar, right? So there were Kulkars who came in, the, the, the leaders of people, and they taught people how to do several things when these trees started wiping off from our earth. You know? So anyway, so that said, that's what this fourth call is about. So we are somewhere here in this fifth and so on and so forth. Okay. So that's just a representation of that. Let me see. I think, okay, beta. So that said, now, okay, this is just how much duration is there for each of those calls. So think of it, 4 Kroda Krodi Sagar. Sagar is the high unit of measurement, of quantum, of quantity, right? So 4 Kroda Krodi is huge, right? 3 Kroda Krodi Sagar is the Sukma Kal. The Sukma Dukma Kal is 2 Kroda Krodi Sagar. Dukma Sukma Kal is 1 Kroda Krodi Sagar minus 42,000, right? And how is that 42,000 then spread? The first 21,000 of that, first 21,000 of that 42,000 is Dukma Kal, and the next 21,000 is the Dukma Dukma Kal. 21 plus 21. Okay. I think I said 22, which is wrong. 21 and 21. Hai. So that's how it is. That's how it is totaling up to 4 plus 3 plus 2. That is 9 plus 1. That is about, it's exactly 10. So what is from this 12 to 6, how many years we are talking about? We are talking about 10 Kroda Krodi Sagar years. So in total, what is the duration of one time cycle? It is 20 Kroda Krodi Sagars. Make sense, Arush? Is the math making sense? So the total duration of one time cycle is 20 Kroda Krodi Sagars. Hai na? Okay. Let me keep moving. I think this was the last slide for this. So what is Sagar is an interesting concept, right? So for that one, and by the way, whatever I'm teaching is not, this is something that is there from Bhagwan Adinath's, Bhagwan Adinath's Wani and all the way to Bhagwan Parshnath and Mahavir Bhagwan's Wani, right? Ultimately going into the Agam literature that is known to us. So all these units of time, everything is well defined, well covered in Jain scriptures. For that matter, I would encourage you to go and read about Jain Kal Chakra on Wikipedia. Or everything that we are covering here is described with more elaboration out there. Okay, so let's talk about this. Kal Kalp. So what is Kalp Kal? Total duration of the full cycle is what is called as Kalp Kal. Hai na? Each Kalp Kal, this one cycle is called as Kalp. And what is the duration of one Kalp? It is 20 Kroda Krodi Sagar years. Okay. Each Kalp Kal is made up of 2 Kals or half cycles, Avasarpani and Utsarpani. ठीक है ना? What is the duration of Avasarpani? We just covered it. 10 Kroda Krodi Sagar years. Same for Utsarpani. 10 Kroda Krodi Sagars. Adding up to 20 Kroda Krodi Sagar for one Kalp. है ना? Now what is Kroda Krodi? Think of it. 1 crore. By the way, crore is something, I'm sure you are Indians, right? You would know crore. So 1 crore is, or 1 crore or 1 crore is 10 million. So when we say Kroda Krodi, we are saying 10 million times 10 million, which is 100 million. है ना? तो अभी जब हम बोलते हैं कल्प काल, we are saying 20 times 10 million times 10 million sagar, which is like 2 billion sagar. अब सागर क्या होता है? Sagar is also a high unit of measurement. 1 sagar is equal to 10 kroda krodi palya. Okay, again, 10 times 10 million into 10 million palya, which is 1 billion palya. Palya क्या होता है? Right? So Palya is a very interesting unit. The way it is described, I will come to this. Okay. So what is Palya? How would you measure one Palya? So the way it is described compared to a more tangible concept is, let's say we dig a hemispherical hole on the earth, which is of the size of 8 mile in radius, right? 8 mile is like 12 kilometers something. Oh, 8 mile. So you know what is 8 mile. 8 mile long, deep and wide. So it's basically, think of it as its radius is 8 and its depth is also 8. That type of a hemispherical ball. Fill that hemispherical ball with hair pieces of a newborn baby of a sheep. So think of it, these are like so minute of hairs, right? I'm talking about follicles, that size. है ना? इस तरह का बिग जो ह्यूज हेमिस्फेरिकल शेप है, बोल है, इसको फिल करो इतने सारे हेयर्स से. ओके, अब आप every 100 years pe you pick one hair out of that bowl. Okay, the time it will take to empty that pit is one palya. Amazing, right? How many years are we talking about? Every 100 year I'm pulling one hair out. How many hairs will be there? Uncountable, right? So one palya, that's how is defined as uncountable koti purva. Purva is another unit of time, which is close to this 7,056 7,056 times 10 to the power 15 years, right? So that again, a lot of math there, blah, blah. You can go through it. So you may find it very fascinating, but that's what it is, right? That's a higher unit of time measurement. Like what is there after billion, trillion, right? We always get into this. What is after trillion? Something else, and so on and so forth. So in Jainism also, similarly, higher unit of times are defined, ranging all the way to Sagar, right? Think of this, which is the highest unit of something or duration of time. It is Sagar, or rather I should say 20 Sagar, right? 20 Sagar and then repetition of them for ad infinitum, right? Kind of thing. So, right? And then now let's talk about the minor units of time. So the minutest unit of time is defined as समय. क्या term use करते हैं उसके लिए? समय. क्या है वो? अरहम, what is the minutest unit of time? It is called as
समय.
समय. अब एक समय क्या होता है? देखो, एक समय क्या होता है? The most fundamental unit of matter is परमाणु. उसको क्या बोलते हैं? परमाणु. It is very minuscule, very minuscule, right? How minuscule it is, you can obviously not see it in the eyes. If the closest you can compare it with modern sciences is, there is a concept of string in a string theory, right? That is considered as the most fundamental particle, right? That has comes together in different combinations and permutations and ultimately define the matter and ultimately define this universe. That thing, that string, in Jainism, we call it as a Parmanu. The time it takes for one string to completely traverse the second string, which is parked next to it, that time duration is called as one समय. है ना? एक परमाणु जो जितना टाइम दूसरे परमाणु को क्रॉस करने में लेता है, that duration is one समय. Okay, the next higher unit from that samay is uncountable such samays make one avli. Okay, then countable such avlis make one pran or uchwas. 7 uchwas make one stok. 7 stokes make one love. 38.5 love make one ghadi or nadi. Okay, one nadi is about 24 minutes in the current way of measuring time as we know it today. By the way, this was not always the case, right? In the history, if you go, people were not aware of the way 24 minutes is calculated now. It's a very modern concept, है ना? maybe in 3-4 centuries in Europe. But this time calculation has been existing at least in our culture since days of Mahavir Bhagwan, what is written here on this slide. है ना? So 7 stroke makes 1 love, 38.5 love makes 1 ghadi, 1 ghadi or 2 ghadis make 1 muhurat, which is 48 minutes. 30 muhurat is equivalent to 1 day, right? So 1 day is like 24 hours. In 24 hours, there are 30 muhurats. 30, so then 15 days define 1 fortnight or paksh, right? You remember in Indian calendar, there are 2 paksh, always 2 sets of fortnights make one month, 1 Indian month, okay? That's what is given here. 2 paksh makes 1 mah, 1 month as per Hindi calendar. 2 maha makes 1 ritu or season, as it is known in India. The 3 ritus makes 1 ayan. 2 ayan or ayan makes 1 varsh, right? 6 months. 2 periods of 6 months make 1 year, and 5 years make 1 yug. 2 yug makes 10 years or a decade. So if somebody says how many yugs in a decade, it's 2, right? Likewise. And then 100 varsh makes a centenary or what we call as shatavarsh. 10 shatavarsh makes 1000 years. 1000 sahasra varsh means 1 lakh years, and so on and so forth. So it kind of keeps going all the way to Purvang, Purvang to Purv, Purva to what we were covering earlier in the previous slide, right? Yeah, here. Yeah, this one. 1 Purvang is so many years, then 1 Purva is so many Purvang, then we take 1 Koti Purva to make 1, to make a Palya, and so on and so forth. So basically connecting the dots from 1 Samay to 1 Palya, there is enough connection available in as per the Jain physics. Okay. Again, a matter for you to, if you are curious, you can explore this, but this is how time is defined as per Jainism. Okay. The amazing part of what everything is, even if you don't remember it, Udyan, is that the concept is available, right? And this was available before the modern sciences started defining similar systems. When you will get to high school physics, there will be a chapter on measurement, and that will be just focused on this kind of time calculation. At that time, you will find more appreciation for this, that we have been knowing this kind of, we had our own method of calculation and measurement of time and quantities and everything since the day of Mahavir Bhagwan at least, and before that also, since the day of Adinath Bhagwan. है ना? So just have an appreciation for it, understand this concept, try to look for it on internet. In particular, go to Wikipedia. You'll be amazed with the amount of information available there. So look for Jain time chakra, and you'll find all this content with greater depth and details. Okay? Okay. I think this is all what I wanted to cover today. Lot of deeper concepts, but let me know if you have any questions, Arham, Arush, Udyan. If not, we will end it with Jinwani Stuti. Arham, any question? Okay. Arush, Udyan, any question, beta? Okay, no worries. Let's recite Jinwani Stuti and end today's class. या वाणी के मानसे सूझे लो कालो, ते वाणी मस्तक धरूं देहूं सदा धो। हे जिनवाणी भारती माँ तो हे जपूं दिन रैन, जो तेरी शरणा गए माँ सो पावे सुख चैन। उत्तम क्षमा बेटा, मिच्छामि दुक्कडम। See you next time. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Shinendra.
Jai Jinendra बेटा.
Yeah,
Jai Jinendra.